Today we're preparing gnocchi, a classic Italian pasta dish. The beautiful thing about Italian cooking is it's very simple in terms of how many ingredients go into things, but the technique is incredibly important. And the quality of ingredients is maybe even more so important. That's why I kind of love Italian cooking. You kind of have to make sure that you source the best things that you can, but also make sure that your technique is on point. So the ingredients for our gnocchi are about 6 Idaho potatoes. Ours weighed out to about 1.5 kilograms or 1,500 grams. 45 grams of extra virgin olive oil, 45 grams of butter, unsalted, 225 grams of 00 Italian flour. Here you can use AP flour too if you're in a pinch. 13 grams of kosher salt, 63 grams of grated Parmigiano Reggiano, and 2 large eggs, preferably farm eggs. So first you're going to want to stab your potatoes a little bit all over on both sides and place them on a salt bed. These are going to go into a 350-degree oven until totally tender. Ours took about an hour. So while the potatoes are baking, you're going to want to melt your butter in your olive oil. Don't get it hot or boiling here. You just want to kind of gently melt it over low heat. After they come out, be careful, they're really hot. So I place them to the side for just a couple minutes while I get everything else ready. You're going to want to peel them, let some of the steam out, and put them to the side for just a couple more minutes just to steam out. Next, we're going to grab our food mill with a medium die. You can use a potato masher here, but the food mill creates a nicer texture, I think. Mill the potatoes through, put them into a bowl, and set aside again. Okay, so our potatoes are milled, so we're going to put them onto our work surface here. First step, we're going to sprinkle salt over the potatoes. So we have our 2 eggs here. We're going to whisk them nice. No lumps here, guys. So next step, we have our flour here. We're going to use our sifter to make sure there's no lumps here. So scoop your flour into your sifter and tap it all over the potatoes. We're going to want to work in batches here. So I put about 1/3 of the flour in first, and then we go on to the rest of our ingredients and then add the flour in stages. So now we're going to grab our bench scraper. I like the metal one. It's nice and stiff. We're going to use that scraper to kind of cut the ingredients into the gnocchi. We don't want to knead the gnocchi here. They're going to get very dense and tough. So very gently just kind of cut everything in there. So now that all of our ingredients are in there, we're going to very gently fold the dough and lightly press it in here. You don't want to use a lot of force here. Too much force and you can have really dense gnocchi. And you want to fold that over just until all the flour is not visible anymore. This is about 3 or 4 times for us here. Okay, now time to portion. So I cut a workable piece. This one's about maybe 5 inches wide and 1 inch thick. I'm going to take that mass. Again, you don't want to work it too much here. Really gently using your fingertips, just kind of roll it out into a snake. This could be a little tricky. The dough is very delicate, but you do want to make sure you don't work it too much. If it breaks off, don't worry about it too much. You kind of work out in sections here. Using quick motions, you're going to cut little 1-inch long gnocchis out of that snake. Okay, once everything's cut, you're going to want to lightly pinch with your pointer finger and thumb right in the middle there. It gets a nice little shape. And lastly, if you're going to cook them right away, you can go straight to your boiling water. But if not, lightly flour a pan with some parchment on it, and you can portion them out for cooking later. So gnocchi are really best the day they're cooked, but you can hold them for maybe a day, tightly wrapped in plastic in the fridge. So for every one good gnocchi recipe out there, there's like 1,000 probably bad ones. What's really important is to make sure that you follow the directions very closely and step by step, and to make sure that you don't overwork the gnocchi too much. And you want to have a really delicate touch with this. So traditionally made by Italian grandmothers, so imagine yourself being one of those when you're handling the dough and handling the ingredients. Make sure you put a lot of love into it too. So before we go on our tomato sauce, we're going to want to prepare an herb oil. This herb oil is going to help amplify the flavor of the tomato without getting in the way too much. So we're going to add a couple olive oil to the pan here. I have some herbs laying around. We have some thyme here, some basil leaves, parsley, and a clove of garlic. You can use anything you might have in your garden as well. Chives works really nice. Rosemary is always nice. We're going to bring this up together in a cold pan together. Again, low heat here. You don't want to boil it, kill the flavor of the herbs. Right when you see these small little bubbles here, you're going to want to pull it off the heat. So turn the heat off, let it cool down to room temperature in the pan here. Don't mess with it, just let it kind of do its thing, let the flavors blend. When it's cool enough to handle, you're going to strain the herbs out and then reserve your oil on the side. So we're going to prepare our gnocchi today with my favorite preparation. We're going to use a Jersey tomato sauce. So Jersey tomato sauce first starts off with, of course, Jersey tomatoes. The brand we use here is Sclafani. These are really beautiful. So they pick them in the summer in New Jersey, nice and fresh, can them right away, and then they have a great, bright, acidic flavor. So to the pan, we're gonna add 700 grams of our Jersey crushed tomato. So next we're gonna add 2 grams of salt, 2 grams of sugar. We're gonna let this simmer for about 20 minutes, just to get the acidity out a little bit. You don't wanna go too high here or it's gonna scorch. So nice low heat, nice lazy bubbles is what you wanna see. So our tomatoes have been going for about 20 minutes. Nice flavor here. We're gonna add about a tablespoon of the herb oil we made earlier. We're gonna whisk that in really well to get it nice and incorporated. Once the herb oil is in there, you don't want to cook the tomato sauce anymore or else you kind of kill the flavor of the herbs here. So we're gonna pull it off the heat here and let it cool down, do its thing. Gnocchi cook really quickly, so we're gonna make sure we prepare our sauce beforehand. We have our seasoned tomato sauce from before. We're gonna grab about 4 ounces of that, put it into a saute pan, bring that up over low heat. Gnocchi goes in the water. So gnocchi cook really quickly, especially when they're fresh and fluffy like this. You'll know when they're done when they all start to float. Ours took about 15 seconds, so very fast. So our sauce is nice and warm, our gnocchi are floating. Go ahead, pull those out, drain all the water off, and then we're going to put them into the pan. Now this step is also very quickly. Since our sauce is hot and our gnocchi are perfectly cooked, we don't want them to sit in the pan for too long. I'm gonna stir them together, let them absorb that sauce a little bit. A couple quick tosses. Go in with a nice pat of butter here, some chopped basil. And then when the sauce is looking a little bit thicker and starting to cling to the gnocchi without looking too watery, we're gonna go in with a little bit more extra virgin olive oil and grated Parmesan cheese. Give those another quick toss and onto the bowl. Now we're going to finish it off very traditionally with some more chopped basil, a nice glug of extra virgin olive oil, and of course some more Parmesan cheese.
Next time you're on Oahu or in the Kapolei area, be sure to check out Mad Bene. They serve up classic Italian-American comfort food that's craved by many on the East Coast, but they're bringing that flavor to Hawaii. They're located in the Kapolei Commons, adjacent to the Regal Theaters.